Well, hey everybody. My name is Aletha, and welcome to the first episode of Deke's Closet. So, if you don't know the backstory, quick run through is that I was inspired by the Met Gala's 2025 theme, and it just made me realize like my fashion story all stems from my dad and just like watching how he got dressed, and that just really impacts like how I get dressed and why I make some of the shopping decisions that I make today. So we're gonna jump in and discuss his essential um, style element, which was fragrance. And I know some of you might be like, fragrance and style, how do they even go together? But for my dad, like his fragrance was so him. Like it announced him before he even walked into a space. And I know some of you have relatives like that or friends um, that their fragrance says they're there before they have even arrived. And my dad was a really big fan of this fragrance called Avatar by Coty Fragrances, Coty. And I know a lot of y'all are familiar with them. Um, and it was a really inexpensive fragrance, y'all, really inexpensive, but it brought him like so much happiness when he smelled it, and it smelled like him, And I remember I just was looking up like, does the fragrance still exist? Did it just stop being made? And from what I gather so far, Coty stopped making it. Um, and I was trying to find like, okay, like if I wanted to go out and find something that smelled like my dad, like what is similar to Avatar? And they said Dior Sauvage. So like if you're curious to know what my dad smelled like, smell Dior Sauvage sometime. But I feel like when I smell um those scents, I feel like this is me, right? I feel like that's just like essence of man, because I feel like a lot of fragrances smell that way, not in a bad way. It's just like when you think of a men's cologne, they all kind of have that same scent. I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. So anyway, fast forward. So I was like thinking about Dior Sauvage and how like if my dad was alive today, like would he even care if it was Dior Sauvage or Avatar? One of the things that he always told me is like your fragrance should be you. Like it should smell like you. And I remembered like not really understanding that at first. But I remember my first big girl fragrance was DKNY Be Delicious. I was like super into like fruity and citrusy, fragrances back in the day. And I remember when I brought it home, my dad was like, "Oh yeah, pumpkin, that smells just like you." Was happy, and when he said that, it made me think like, "Oh, so it smells like me." This is what he was talking about. Like your fragrance should be you. And even today, like when I go shopping for a fragrance, I'm always like making sure, like, does this actually smell like me? When I put this on, do I feel like myself? And I know that might sound extra to some of you, but like I don't know, to me it's like a shirt or a sweatshirt that just feels really good. Like when I spray on a fragrance, like it should feel that good. So that's kind of like the whole process I go through. I really want to make sure that I'm not just trying to make a purchase because it's something that is trending right now or whatever. Um, so my dad, when he was putting on fragrance, he was creating a whole ozone of fragrance. Now, I personally don't believe in creating your own atmosphere of fragrance just because, people got allergies, people got asthma, so you just want to be respectful. But his method, it was like, psh. But he also sprayed all what I would say the traditional points of interest for fragrance. So he'd always like, oh, do your wrist, do your neck, and then always put some behind your ears for when people hug you. So when I get ready, I usually will do my wrist. I'll also do it in the forearm. I've stopped putting it in my neck because as I've gotten older, y'all, over 35 is a trip physically sometimes. As I've gotten older, I break out more here. So if any of you have like tips on like how to not break out after you spray fragrance, because this is all very new to me. I'm game for it. So I don't do my neck anymore, and then I'll just put like a little on my like fingertip, and then I'll just go right behind the ear. And then sometimes if I'm feeling a little bit of extra, I'll just do a little crowd mist and just let it fall. But I don't go crazy. And if you go crazy, live your best life. Just remember, there are people with respiratory issues out there. Just saying. So I wanted to share a couple of my favorite fragrances, because I believe when you find something good, you should share. So first one up, I'm gonna hit this right here. Ignore my nails. Can y'all see? It's like getting blurry. It was like focusing. Now it's like, nope. Okay, regardless. Okay. This is one of my favorite houses. Le Jardin Retrouvé. And I probably butchered it. My French is not as strong as my Spanish. I had the absolute pleasure of meeting one of the owners when I was in France moons ago, and going and meeting her and talking with her about all of their fragrances. It was literally like going to see a relative, and she was just so sweet, and I really consider her family, to be honest. But please, let's see if it'll work a little bit better this time. Yeah, there we go. Please go check them out. They're my go-to. Next up is Brown Girl Jane. Okay, can you see it a little bit? Yeah. Okay. So Brown Girl Jane, I had been seeing like all over Instagram, like ads, and the trigger to buy was like an influencer, and I cannot remember her name off the top of my head. I'm so sorry. But if I remember, I will at least link her Instagram below, because she deserves credit for getting me hooked. But I messaged her and I was like, hey, I see that you wear the fragrances. Do you like it? She was like, oh yeah, you know, I do layers, blah, blah, blah. You should give them a try. So I got their discovery set. Y'all, Brown Girl Jane does not miss. I would definitely say is for people who really like, I would say, gourmand scents. They have really just rich and tasty and fun. A lot of coconut in their fragrances. And so obviously if you don't like coconut, if you're allergic, it's probably not the vibe for you. But if you just love a good fun brand, like, please try Brown Girl Jane. Like, yes. Okay, now this last one is like, again, because I talked about like my dad's fragrance wasn't one that was like super expensive. It was like one we got at Walmart. Okay. I truly believe that you can find a fragrance at every price point. And I wanted to bring this as an example. So let me see if I can get this in here. This is Memoir and Wish You Were Here. And right now it is at Walmart. I'd never seen these before, but it was like a $5 little stocking stuffer gift. And I was super curious because the notes that they had on there mentioned ground coffee. I'm a coffee drinker, and I was like, yes. And then also I love Wish You Were Here because I love to travel. And when I sprayed it on, my mom was like, ooh, it smells like you. Again, that's what we're going for, you guys, when we get fragrances. We want it to smell like us. We want it to smell authentic. But yeah, $5. So if you feel like heading into a Walmart, again, it's called Memoir. And they have like, I don't know, I think it's like 4 or 5 different scents. And if you just, like I said, just want a little stocking stuffer for yourself and you're a fragrance person, you just want to try something new, go check them out. So as we're kind of winding up here, we're thinking about fragrances. All these fragrances come at like different times for me. I'm not like a person who wears the same one every day. Like this one especially, this is my, like, we have fancy things to do fragrance. I'm getting ready to buy another one from them because it's just time. But yeah, it's like my fancy fragrance. My Brown Girl Jane is my vacation fragrance, like when I just want to feel fun. This one is Carnival. Need I say anything else? Fun, fun, fun. Memoir is kind of right now like my everyday spritz fragrance when I'm going out around to run errands. But sometimes these two especially I have found pair really well together, the Brown Girl Jane and the Memoir. But I just say, like, when you're deciding to go out and get a fragrance, make sure it's you. I know it can be so tempting to go and buy a fragrance that is viral or that you've seen 1,000 ads for, but don't force yourself to wear something that isn't you. Like, you should be able to like smell it on yourself and be like, yeah, that's me. So again, thank you for letting me share a story about my dad and his love of fragrance, and share some of the fragrances that I really like. So we're just gonna be here for a few more episodes, sharing stories about my dad and how that impacts how I go out into the world and shop today. And I hope that you enjoy, and at the very least, I hope it made you think of maybe a fragrance that reminds you of somebody that you really love. So before I leave, do you guys have any questions for me? I don't know what kind of questions you might have, but do you have any questions regarding, um, I don't know. Just do you have questions? Okay, bye.